trust the researchers here that they do find that this is a contributor, and that is why I'm teaching it to my clients. And my clients who do it, combined with the other things, who are over 50, are successfully reducing body fat. Hi, welcome to the Judy Terrell Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Your Second 50. And if you're joining me right now, you are on episode number 2 in my 6-part series on how to reduce belly fat in men and women over 50, 60, and 70. And it's a 6-part comprehensive series because it's not just a question of don't eat bread, okay? It is a more comprehensive situation, but I have helped literally hundreds, if not thousands, of clients that I work with one-on-one and have been working with for the last decade, but definitely 42 years of my practice, how to get rid of this belly fat. And I'm working with women who are postmenopause, who when they come to see me, they kind of feel like, they're destined to have this belly fat that they never had before because of the hormonal changes. I have men in the similar situation. They're just older. They feel like they have less testosterone and whatever their thoughts are. They're thinking this belly fat's not going to go down. And I am here to tell you, I've helped, like I said, hundreds, thousands maybe of clients lose that belly fat in their 60s, 70s, and their 50s. So it can be done. It's not destiny because of hormonal changes as we age. And if you're in this, you're watching this episode, this is episode number 2 of me giving you 6 tips, 6 behaviors that you need to alter in your daily life that will reduce your belly fat from now until the day you die, okay? It does involve choices of food, okay? And I'm going to get to that actually in my next episode in this series. But it is not just the choice of foods. So I don't want to mislead you to say if you just stop eating bread, for instance, and I'm not saying that, by the way, that you're going to reduce your belly fat. It is a question of a combination. Belly fat is formed because there's high cortisol levels combined with high insulin levels. And when those two come together and you're in your 50s, 60s, and you have other sex hormone changes and human growth hormone changes that have occurred as we're aging, then that is the perfect storm for belly fat, all right? So we have to address the cortisol and the insulin, all right? Cortisol is, everyone knows, stress hormone, okay? And it is good for us. We need cortisol so that we're in fight or flight, or we're in a situation where we have to get our nervous system gets us revved up, then we need to have that. But when we have too much of it and it has been chronic and it's not going down, that is what is a problem. And when that combines with high insulin, just glue belly fat onto your belly. All right. I'm going to address the insulin in future in this series, but in other episodes. I'm on the cortisol. All right. How do we keep cortisol in what I call the sweet spot? You don't want it to be too low. I have clients with Addison's disease. That's when your body stops producing cortisol. And let me tell you something. That is not a pleasant body state to be in. So too little is not good, but obviously too much is not good. Most of us are in the too much category, all right? And somewhere in the between those two, in the middle, is the sweet spot for cortisol, all right? Cortisol gets produced when we're under stress, right? In the first episode, I talked about our bodies can be under chronic stress when we are getting low quality sleep. And that is what I addressed in episode number 1 on how to reduce belly fat. If you haven't watched it, find it and go back to it. This episode, I'm still on the cortisol side of this equation, and I'm talking now about mental stress. Like, who amongst us who's living on the planet right now isn't like basically marinating in mental stress? Everything from our own healthcare, trying to groom and raise children. If you're in your 50s and 60s, they're older now, they're in their upper teens, 20s and 30s, but you're still, supporting them, and they have a challenge to be in the world today. Elder care issues with our parents now, having to take care of them as they are aging. Our own aging issues in our body, arthritis and various challenges that just come with aging that makes it more stressful to just be living in your own body. Mental stresses, where many of us in the 50s and 60s and even 70s, I have clients in their 70s that are still in the workforce, and there's stress, the mental stress that goes with that. The news and everything that we're exposed to at a higher level now because of technology. the information age we're living in. It's like we are just constantly on, running hot, and our brains are producing, are stressed. It's just too much. And, I've been on the planet for 60 years. It used to be you'd have periods of high stress mentally, and then you'd have a reprieve for a little bit, and then it would happen again. My observation in my own life and with my clients that are over 50 and 60, it's like it's up, it's on high, it's in the red zone, and it doesn't stop. One thing goes down, another thing comes up. It just never ends. All right. So that mental stress is a significant contributor to belly fat. All right. So we have to find ways to manage it. It's not going to go away. I have a lot of clients. Again, I just have to wait for things to calm down. And I'm like, you know what? You're going to be dead before that happens. Or 400 pounds with a lot of belly fat and the health issues that go with that. All right. So you can't wait for it to calm down. I want to give you tools for how to better manage it as it's in the red zone and not going down at all. All right. So the sleep piece, which I addressed in the first episode, is a part of that. But now separate from that is now we're awake. What can you do while you're awake and conscious and going through your life to minimize the mental stress, or actually minimize the mental stress isn't what I want to say. I want to say how to better manage it, because our brains work on 90-minute diurnal rhythms. We have circadian rhythms of 24 hours, but our brains operate on 90-minute cycles, right? And so despite what we think that we can stay focused for hours and hours and go from one thing to another thing to another thing, we can, but our level of productivity goes down as we are doing that or trying to, and our mental stress and our cortisol production goes up, which is now affecting belly fat. All right. So what can we do when we're over 50, 60, and 70 and beyond, men and women both, to help us to manage the brain stress, all right, that's coming from inside ourselves? It's our own, what's called metacognitions. We are taking things in from our environment, and then we are having our own self-talk about those things. It's that our own self-talk that is causing the cortisol, all right? It is the not enough breaks and the constant barrage that goes from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed that is causing the cortisol to be too high, and then the belly fat. All right. So how do we mitigate that? I have two things I want to talk about. And the first one is we have to. It's not an option. It's not a luxury. It is a necessary thing to build into our everyday lives. Just little 5 to 10 minute snippets where we disengage and we can like stop our own brains from talking to us about all the stress we're under. All right. So the first one, the tool I'm going to give you is go on your phone. And there are two apps that I recommend my clients to use. The first one is called Insight Timer, and the second one is called Calm. There are many others, but these are two that I highly recommend and I know how to use and my clients have success with. They are literally 10,000 scripts, audio scripts, where you're listening to stress relieving. It could be a visualization. It could be a breathing exercise. It could be a script of environment, like a visualization where you are creating this in your brain, guided by somebody who's already recorded it. It's on these apps. I am so excited to announce your second 50.life. I have been working in the fitness industry with individuals, both men and women, over 50 years old for 42 years, and really specialized in the last 10 on over 50. I'm over 50 myself by a long shot. And I've helped literally thousands of men and women both to lose the extra body fat that they gain in the second half of their life, to feel better in their own bodies energetically. I have helped people to reverse and eliminate health problems, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, pre-diabetes, symptoms of menopause, to name just a few. On this platform, you will have access to an entire body of resources, exercise videos, mini courses, eating plans that are specially designed for over 50 men and women because there's special needs for our demographic. And in addition to the virtual resources that you'll have access to if you join at any time that you'd like, You also have access to me for one-on-one coaching through a group coach call every month. So you can bring your specifics and we can address those as you're also getting information that is specific to the over 50 population. 50s, 60s, 70s, and now 80s is the demographic that I'm working with. So it's yoursecond50.life, yoursecond 50.life. Go check it out. It might be the single best thing that you've looked at like in your second 50s. Because if you left your own devices, you're like, well, I could do that myself. You can, but you won't because you're all involved with all the things going on in your life and you can't disconnect from it. It's hard. So I tell my clients, go to these 2 apps. They're free. Upload them. And then scroll through. There's different categories, anxiety, depression, a variety of categories on each one of these apps. And they have anything from like 8-minute, 5-minute scripts to hours, right? You want to go for the very short ones. You want to find someone's voice that is soothing to you and a script that you like, whether it be a visualization or a story or a relaxation exercise, guided imagery, lots of things on these apps, all right? And then bookmark them so that now when it's noon and you've had lunch and now you're going to go right back to your job, or you're transitioning from your job to your second job of going home and having to deal with everything there, you can be in your car in the driveway and hit this 5-minute script. And for 5 minutes, having somebody else putting input into your brain to calm you down will disengage you from your own metacognition. And that's what we need to help to manage the cortisol. It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to go to a meditation class. You don't have to do an hour yoga class. Not that these things are bad, but they are not going to happen in the throw of an average day for somebody. But these 5-minute little snippets that you bookmarked and then you have on your phone that you can play at any time right before you go to bed, but I'm really advocating that you do these during the course of your day. Like I said, transitioning between work and home, or, mid-morning when you have your 15-minute break at work, or you take a 15-minute break, exit off in your network schedule, and then just play one of these. You will be amazed at just how your productivity goes up for your cognitive processing and whatever it is that you have to do for your life and your job. But you are now buffering that cortisol in the red zone and helping it to have little decreases. And I'm going to tell you, you can't just do this once a week or whatever. You have to say, I'm going to take this on like I brush my teeth every night, whether I have cavities or not on my dental checkup. That's how this has to be. You toggle these up, you bookmark them, and then you listen to them in a scheduled regular basis. 5 or 10 minutes in a day. The benefit that you'll get from this outweighs the 10 minutes that you will, put towards doing that, where you say, I don't have 10 minutes. Yeah, you do. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. You have it. And when you do it and you notice a difference in cognitive processing and productivity, that's the selling point, because you're not going to notice it immediately on your belly fat, but it is one of the factors that I'm teaching you in this series that when combined with the others will have a positive effect. All right. Whether you can directly measure it or not is questionable, but they have done research in science and, trust the researchers here that they do find that this is a contributor. And that is why I'm teaching it to my clients, and my clients who do it combined with the other things who are over 50 are successfully reducing body fat, or belly fat, I should say. All right. So reducing mental stress. All right. I said I'm going to give you 2 tools. So the first one is these apps, and bookmark them, short little ones, 5, 8-minute ones. And then you don't even have to listen to the whole thing. Do part of them. All right. But then consistently say, I'm going to do it at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock every day. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Monday, and 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. It doesn't have to be the same every day, but it does have to be consistently done, like brushing your teeth. So I call it mental hygiene for stress and belly fat reduction. All right. Second tool is, I'm going to say journaling, but it's not journaling. Okay. It's much simpler than that. You take a piece of paper and you put it on, a desk, and you just write down the things that are in your mind, all right? It could be, I'm so pissed off at XYZ because blah, 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 blah. Or I got to remember to do, I got to remember to get the car washed. And oh God, I know I have to get that form over to my health insurance, anything that's in your brain that is taking up space, you're just writing it down on paper, all right? And honestly, you can throw that paper out when you're done, or you can use it as a checklist. The point why I want you to do this is you got to get it when it's kind of circulating around in your own brain. It's producing cortisol. It's creating stress. But when you can get it out on paper and write it down, it's reducing the stress level of the cognitions in your brain. All right. When you have this cortisol that is being created by our own thinking and our own spinning on things, we are creating a situation where the cortisol combined with insulin is creating belly fat. It affects lipoprotein lipase, all right? And that is a fat production hormone that is contributing to belly fat, and it's being messed up with from cortisol and insulin, all right? So in this episode, I just gave you 2 tools for how to mitigate and control and better manage cortisol, and then that's a factor into the belly fat, all right? So the 2 are, some meditation apps that are and getting those on your phone, and some 5-8-minute ones, a couple of them bookmarked that you can use on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And the second one is when you feel like you're going to lose your mind because you're so stressed and revved up, get a piece of paper out and just write down, stream of consciousness, everything, that's going on in your brain. Do that once and then notice what happens. You're calmer right away. Because I use this one all the time myself. So those are your 2 additional tools to your sleep hygiene from episode number 1. And all 3 of these are helping you to mitigate and better manage cortisol production in your body. And cortisol is a significant factor in belly fat, right? So in the next episodes, I'm going to talk about insulin, and then that does involve foods, and then what to eat, what not to eat, and the changes that happens once we're over 50, and why that creates a more of a risk profile for belly fat. So please stay tuned for episode number 3, which is yet to come. Write down these tips from episode 1 and 2. If you're enjoying these or getting something valuable out of them, please go to my platform, yoursecond50.life, my website, judyterrell.com, because there's a whole mecca of other resources, additional resources and topics and tips for the over 50 crowd for weight management, health management, and investing in your physical strength and capacity so that you can, be self-ambulatory and enjoying your life in your 80s, 90s, and maybe even beyond. All right. So check those things out, everybody. Please like this episode. Please follow me on YouTube. Click those little icons and you will get notifications when I have new videos coming out. And as always, let's make our second 50 even better than our first 50. My catchphrase for my videos and my things I'm putting out for my over 50 crowd. And until I see you again, everybody, be well, enjoy life, and make it as worthwhile as possible for you. Thanks for listening, everybody. And if you'd like to have access to more of my resources, then you can reach me at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can go to my new platform at yoursecond50.life. That is yoursecond50.life, or at my website www.judyterrell.com.